welcome in the spotlight here on the Mega Republic. I am your host, the cute and lovable DJ R. If you have not already noticed by now, we are doing a military special in honor of Veterans Day, so we'll be discussing about all those who have ended serving in the military and just the tomfoolery, I could pretty much say as much as around over here, that happens in relation to...
Yes, it was Armistice Day just yesterday. Poppies everywhere. Poppies and charities everywhere. It's lovely.
And of course, here on the Mega Republic, we do or have had a few individuals who have served at any time or has been raised in a military family, which of course would be Raven, Fireblaze, Daydreamer, and myself.
It almost sounds like I'm the only one without a connection. That's just because my autism essentially vouches me out of any military service.
I do believe... Well, let's say your brother... If I recall right, is the one that went ahead and did serving as well.
My brother? What?
Didn't you have a relative or somebody that used to go ahead and serve in the military?
It may be my great-grandfather that did it. I'm not very sure.
I could have sworn you were the one that had a relative that was in the Marines, tanker, if I recalled right.
Nope.
Hmm.
Not recall. That's,
Might
of course, my memory is just as shoddy as a cheapo toothpick, so...
A bunch of my family on my mother's side were used to be in the military. Well, like my mother's side, they were either in the military or the police, or like security guards, because I actually have a picture of, I think he's my mother's uncle. My mother's great uncle in complete uniform. It's beautiful. So, like, apparently a bunch of my family used to be in the military, but you know, closely related, I don't really think so. Not that I know of. There aren't that many people, but apparently my family has a history of being in the military a little bit.
Well, unfortunately, Fireblaze is active duty, so we can't have him around since he is deployed. Raven is not able to make it either. She's been MIA for quite a while, and due to the death of Daydreamer's parents back in September, the scale of it being on national news and of one of the murderers who was serving in the U.S. Army, I'm not about to turn this podcast into a three-ring circus and put Daydreamer into that situation either, so...
You'll have to do.
Yeah, well, that only leaves only one here at this time who have served, which would of course be yours truly. Which is of course alright, because it just means all the more glory. Because, you know, there's never too much praise.
It's not like you get enough attention being, like, the founder and head of staff.
Rip Seether, he had to bail.
Up, he's gone. We're down a man.
That's alright.
I'm sure you have a bunch of stories to tell us.
Yeah, well...
Whether you're allowed to or not.
Well, there's never been too much praise you can give art to bask in, so... For those, though, who might be a bit concerned, though, and not as convinced, don't worry, folks. I'll promise to make this relatively painless as possible. Relatively.
Go for it.
Okay. So, Seether went ahead and dropped out. We are down to... myself... Diamond. Yeah, I nearly forgot your name there.
You almost... It's on your screen!
I'm not looking at it right now!
I'm starting to regret being your +1. Being your second in command. God.
You regret a lot of things in the presence of Ark.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that. I'm gonna have to work with you.
My reputation precedes me. Thank you very much.
Ugh.
And of course, we finally got Krur as well here. It's actually been a while since Krur has been on podcast, hasn't it?
Yeah, where the hell have you been?
Me?
No, your doppelganger, why?
I've just been distracted with a bunch of things, and me and schedules don't mix. I'm right now working on a problem of just ignoring anything that comes into my face, and it's partly due to the fact that once I'm plugged into a computer, everything else doesn't matter. Time stops existing. Any alarms that go off in the corner of my screen, I immediately click dismiss. I don't even realize what that alarm was about. It's just gone. Any appointments that are supposed to pop up in the middle of my screen, gone. My phone rings. Immediately ignored. I'm so in the zone that I just forget about scheduled things like this, for instance.
And this is actually the reason why we had to go ahead and use an alarm for Career as well.
Yeah, just force him to come here.
Well, Skype is at least always on, so you can always bring me up on that. Like, hey, where the fuck are you?
What are you doing?
See, this is actually the reason why he wanted us to switch to Discord, so we wouldn't be bothering him so much and having an annoying, loud beeping sound every time we ring him up.
Yeah, I know, and then by the time I finally convinced you all to do it, I stopped using Discord for a while.
You're not here to actually use it. Jesus.
No, but yeah, I've been trying, but currently the only ways I can really enforce something is to dump shock me. I gotta do laundry? Nope, I gotta schedule a timer that turns off my computer every hour. Only way I will pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that, partially at least.
And even then, I start turning off those scheduled tasks that turn off my computer.
If I'm doing something, I have to have on my computer, on my PlayStation, I have to do something like in a couple hours, or if I have to do something that day, I just have to, like, I remember to do it for the first 10 minutes, and it's just gone, just nothing. Like, my mind will just completely blank on that one thing until my parents come home at the end of the day and yell at me for it.
Yeah, same thing happens here. I get told a chore, but I'm plugged into the computer, so it just flies over my head. My parents come back, they grill me like, "Why didn't you rotate the I was supposed to rotate the laundry? You never." Yes, we did. Ah, fuck.
Yeah, something displacement, memory displacement. It's very dangerous.
Yes, it is.
And as long as you don't keep telling yourself to do that one thing, then your mind will just completely delete it from your mind.
And of course we got one more individual. It's of course this Jerry. I'm sure Jerry is just sitting back in the corner being the shy guy right now.
Thrilled to be here.
Oh, absolutely.
Jerry will be working with us on a few programs. He's pretty much is going to be the one that's going to be replacing many lines of editors that we have had. So he's going to have the most fun part, aren't you, Jerry?
Oh, yay. Many late nights and energy drinks.
Wait, I thought he was like a special guest. He's actually becoming a... Oh
yes,
my
he's
god.
our editor. Pay attention, man!
I have the attention span of a gnat.
Aw, poor Kruger.
The fortunate thing, I will be along right with him working on this, is so it won't be entirely on his shoulder, because lo and behold, I already know the mess of these podcasts are. Not that we're in a hot mess or anything, we're in a smoking mess.
Hot mess.
Oh
It
my.
will be a hot mess soon.
It'll be on fire.
You can count on that.
Steaming.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Alright.
Ah, water. So what we got first, DJ?
Well, the first thing that we got quite a bit of dedications going on as of right now. Yeah. Like I said, obviously we're going to be doing quite a bit of military dedications and whatnot and all of that. There are actually a couple of individuals, which I would like to go ahead and bring forward about. The individual in particular is actually a more prominent gray muzzle who unfortunately is no longer with us, but from the stories across which I have heard about, it was one hell of a cool, collective, and fun-loving individual. Warhorse was actually known well for helping to run the AC's annual Milfers Breakfast and other similar gatherings at FC. Well, he has served in the U.S. military for at least about 28 years, and what I could not be more prouder of, he actually ran for California Assembly District number 56 back in 2010.
Goodness.
Yeah, so I can actually say that you now know at least two furries who has ran for politician office.
Slowly taking over. We'll one day be able to penetrate the government, and then our reign of terror will truly come to fruition.
Well, Warhorse went ahead and tried to go ahead and do it on a state 8 level. I did it on a city level, went after it on a federal level a bit in the background. Just a minor thing, really. It's more of pushing politicians to doing things.
Minor thing.
No comment. Like I said, we will eventually run this country, and eventually the world.
First the conventions, and then the major governments.
Exactly.
You think we really should be talking about politics after what happened on Election Day?
It's a bit of a heated
Well,
topic right now.
Yeah. Probably shouldn't.
Indeed. What I'll go ahead and say for it is, you really got to keep a small inner circle and just work on it. You don't have to focus on lives of the entire nation, the entire world, or anything like that. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is able to go ahead and handle that volume of people. Yes, they are responsible for it, but this is actually the reason why it's dissected in cities, counties, states. All because dealing with tens and thousands, even hundreds of thousands of people is a handful in its own self enough, and even then, we hardly even keep things organized. Now, if you want to go ahead and take it down over on the federal level, it's even more messed up, and trust me, it's all a house of cards. But that's...
Yeah, better to leave stuff like that to the people that know what they're doing, or at least able to do it.
Yeah, that's all I'll go ahead and say about that for the time being. Of course, the next individual who actually is living would be Flinch Fennex.
Mm-hmm.
This one I am proud of as well, because Flinch is actually a former animal care specialist of the U.S. Army who was honorably discharged. So
That's nice.
Yeah, basically she went ahead and took care of military dogs.
Honestly, I think that's something I haven't really heard too much about, is the animal care portion of a branch like that, because a support dog or anything like that of the sort, it's like they have like whole branches dedicated to training and taking care of these dogs, and honestly, I feel like you don't hear about or get much coverage of that sort of area. I mean, to an extent, it's kind of understandable, but I mean, they're also an important part of the job that you're doing, especially with some of the roles that they can have, like the big ones that they can have. They can pose like a really important, lifeline to like any group or any squad or anything.
Well, with military dogs themselves, they are very well trained. It costs quite a bit of money to train them as well. But with these guys, the beauty of them is that I love the animals who have a sense of usefulness, a sense of work relations, really, because those are the ones that really are most effective on getting jobs done, which is actually the reason why I prefer more larger breeds than smaller breeds. Smaller breeds are just more annoying. Unless, of course...
Yappy.
Yeah. Jack Russells, they actually have some use whenever you want to go ahead and get rid of pests and whatnot. Those breeds are specific for that. And
Rats.
Yeah.
My dog, he's a Brittany Spaniel. He's like a Brittany Spaniel / Jack Russell mix, I think. And he's like a wine cellar dog for getting rats and mice. And he's a little bit of a dope. He's sleeping on the couch over there, but yeah, that's normally what he's bred for, and it shows actually, because he runs really fast, and his legs are his leg muscles are ripped. Like you can see his leg muscles, and they're really big.
And see, dogs actually can go ahead and do work that cats do, and they're less of an asshole doing it.
Yeah, at least they have enthusiasm in the things that they do.
This is the reason why dogs are best. I'm sure Raven would have something else to say about that, but
I love cats. I'm more of a cat person than a dog person, because I'm very introverted, and just having a dog. I mean, I'll never object to having a dog come up to me, but just spending the entire day with lots of energetic dogs, or just one energetic dog, will just drain the energy out of me. So I'd much prefer spending the day with a cat on my lap, also on the computer, than spending time with my dog in the park.
see, Diamond,
That's just the type of person I am.
I was having high hopes for you, and then you just had to say that. Of
No,
course.
I never said I don't like going out with my dog. I love it. It's just more tiring than it would be with a cat because I'm just used to being relaxed and not having something barking at me all the time, wanting me to run all the time because it's not easy. I love it, but it's not easy. Especially with a dog that loves to run.
Okay, well, considering that they're cats, I'll go ahead and make an exception for the time being, but only until when dogs start rolling over the internet.
I'm not really sure what the ratio of dogs to cats is. Although I feel like I feel like there's probably a lot more dogs than there are cats right now.
Just in the general world.
Yeah. Population-wise.
Population-wise, I suspect it's more cats than there are dogs, simply because ferals have a tendency to breed more effectively.
Quite a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Now, there are a few other animals that get trained as well whenever they're serviced. I mean, dogs and canines are not the only ones, really. I know they are using seals as well as dolphins in order to go ahead and use.
Wait, are you saying they use Navy SEALs?
Somebody was eventually going to come down on that. Yes, Navy SEALs use seals. But it's not just Navy itself.
That tickled you.
I know, I shouldn't have said that.
You walked right into that one.
See, I'm only going to tolerate it for at least for now, simply because I'm in a good mood, but if it was any other day, those puns would just be punishable.
Punishable by what? Hugs? You're gonna hug me to death?
Now, you never know. May get a little bit creative around over here. Last time MC Ward got into something, he was hanging up down over there in a walk-in freezer.
Well, I mean,
He was chilling.
I like the cold.
In that case, we'll figure something else for you.
How did we get to walk-in freezers?
Don't ask.
No, it's a podcast. Just roll with it.
I'm making a sandwich here, and my brain's only half listening, and somehow we managed to get to walk-in freezers.
Because Diamond went ahead and made a pun reference with a certain service animal with a certain branch.
Navy SEALs,
Oh,
right? Right, DJ?
it's horrible.
It is. It really is. And you had to ask. Alright, so I have no idea how much stuff we went and off down over there. But yes, Flinch would be the type that would you would go ahead and describe as work hard and play harder. Motto for which I firmly believe one should live by, as most of our lives we're actually working for someone and trying to improve our own lives, sacrificing our personal time for it, which gives us little to no in the end.
As a mediator, that kind of comes naturally to me. Doing things for someone else.
So with what we have, make the most out of it. And of course, much of Flinch's life, she has had to fight an uphill battle to improve her own life. But years of never giving up eventually has made way and has given her opportunity. Not only has Flinch finished her time in service with honors, but she is the first of her family to actually graduate from high school, continue her education, and has received an associate's degree in biology.
Goodness, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's going from nothing to a hell of a whole lot of potential.
Quite a lot of success for someone.
Yeah, considering the individual herself has actually had struggles with poverty and whatnot.
Sadly, that is a problem.
Indeed. But for now, she has actually been accepted at the University of Maryland for her master's degree in biology. With Flinch, most we go ahead and say is wish her the best, and perhaps we'll probably get you on here one of these days for you to tell more of your story, because I am certain that there's no shortage of inspiration that you may have.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Okay. Now, wrapping all of this up, I'm going to go ahead and leave that open to which of anyone who would like to go ahead and add or give a shout to.
Not really. I mean, it's obviously important to think about, to realize what the entire thing represents, of the whole thing of Armistice Day and its origin, the end of World War One, the whole 11th day of the 11th hour of the 11th month, and all the things that represents, and the meaning of peace, trying to, and the formation of, I think, the United Nations. I don't know if it was the United Nations, but it was like a group of nations that could take watch over the world to make sure something like that didn't happen again, which is a very basic way of saying how they wrapped up World War One and how they wanted to sort the world out and make sure things was better for everyone. There's actually there is an animation or a video that I could post that really explains it very well. You can carry on if you like.
With that, I think we'll go ahead and start getting on to our topics.
Indeed. Let's do it.
There has been actually some discussions as of lately on protocols with military uniforms in one of Anthrocon's forum page, which I'm actually a bit of surprised with. Specifically those who are serving, because you really should be knowing this stuff ever since your training days, right up there along with memorizing those ranks and insignias, proper maintenance, and everything else they drilled into you during that time. Civilians, not too surprising, because you get some folks who might not know better. So if you'd like to go ahead and express your persona as a modern day soldier type, be creative, folks. That's what we're well known for. Or most importantly though, do a bit of research well enough to know what you can get away with. Life is filled with just that, loopholes. And it's all nothing but technicalities, really. But I'm sure they are plenty of inspirations and whatnot, patriotism and all that other jazz stuff when it comes to such things.
Yeah, but I mean, it's understandable to think why someone would want to make either, design or write or make a character based on some sort of military service, because, I mean, when you think about it, the kind of atmosphere it gives and just the way you think about it, it gives you it's like a sense of pride in a way, and I've kind of done it very, very slightly, very, very loose manner in one of the characters I've created, and it probably doesn't apply, but I can understand why you'd want to have that sort of thought processes of being in the military, because, I mean, it does teach you a lot of good qualities, it teaches you a lot of important things, it puts hairs on your chest, to say the least. I mean, like you've said, it teaches you a lot of working in a team and getting to be able to work efficiently with people you probably don't even know. And just having just that idea alone is enough to promote or to make people want to be a part of that, and even if it's as loosely as just making a character based on it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that it gives inspiration from, and no doubt that war itself is just one of those things, because there's a lot of action, a lot of adrenaline going on, and everyone likes that feel of rush. And I myself, I'll go ahead and admit to that, because I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, I'm sure you can confirm a lot of things that people might want to know, since you've literally been there. You've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, I would think.
Well, surprisingly, one of the more battles that we have the most is fighting boredom.
What, like day-to-day stuff?
Pretty much. Because when you're out in the field, you could be down over there all day and whatnot, no action, no nothing, and you do not have any type of form of entertainment to pass the time. All you got are just your comrades to talk about, maybe a few cards to play with, and along with a few sticks and stones.
Yeah, but I mean, really, being bored is the one thing you probably hope for when you're in the field.
You'd be surprised.
Instead of, the risk of death. though I probably don't have any right to say since I'm literally speaking to a fucking war vet, to a military vet. So you could shut me up at any time you want. You know better than anyone here, I would think.
Well, like I said, you'd be surprised with it. The individuals themselves are actually one of the ones that try to strafe this off. I've known guys who just talk with these locals that may be going ahead and crossing off into security and whatnot. Lieutenant that goes ahead and goes with a megaphone, makes this big giant ass announcement of their positions, just so they go ahead and get notice and some sort of piece of accent from an insurgent. In order to go ahead and pass the boredom, because that's the only action that we really get.
You mean like that's a thing that actually happened, or?
That did actually happen, as I recall, with one individual that I know that did have a megaphone and just was speaking to this entire village.
Did he get it afterwards?
Oh, not necessarily, but it goes to show us, on some of the more extreme things that are done.
Boredom is the hardest battle to fight. It's a very deadly enemy even in the field.
Yeah, the other battle to fight is the lack of attention span sometimes too. Comes to things here, you're just like so focused on... I don't know where I'm going. God damn it, I've once again broken in. I have things to say and then they just dribble out my ear.
Yeah, I know.
It's like
I babble my way through my speech.
Biggest problem is I really don't have a lot of things to add to these conversations, and I do try to partake in these things, but so far I've been noticing in a lot of these podcasts, my mouth is just mostly shut.
Yeah, well, I mean, I try to too. I try to participate as much as I can, but I sometimes might find myself being like one of the people that speaks the most throughout the time that I'm there, and even though that's like the one thing I'm terrified of, and I probably speak more during these podcasts than I do throughout the entire weekend. Like, it's literally to a point where my throat starts hurting and my mouth gets really dry when I talk too much because I'm literally not used to talking that much at one point in time.
Yeah, it's mostly for me, it's just a case of, unless it's something super geeky and super computery, I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm not a fur who actively looks into the news about furries. I'm okay and open to saying that I am one, but I don't actively search for things furry related. I'm very much a normie until you put me into a same physical room as our furry.
Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of covered this the week before with the whole furries in the media thing. And the general consensus of how that is, with how the general public see us. And how a lot of it is just, well, kind of slanderous to say, for lack of other words, apart from the ones that actually care about reporting on what they want to report, go in with loaded questions and try to get as much information as they can from this group that they either don't know about or want to know more about because they're such an enigma to normal people.
Yeah, but it's like, if I'm going to be part of a podcast, I should really have more drive to interact and learn about the community other than being a sidecar suitcase.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I don't do that either. The only time I actually get informed of any news is when Art gives us these link dumps.
Pretty much the same thing.
But apart from that, I try to inform myself as much as I can on stuff. Because, I mean, I pick up on stuff ambiently through just anything what I'm doing. Like, mostly on, obviously, the MLP side. Because that's obviously the fandom that I'm more involved in. And I have been for a long time, so I know most of the content creators that are involved, and the people that make the art, and the people that make the music, and the people that write the fan fictions, and it's just kind of par for the course of just knowing what goes on, because it's something you're directly involved in, and having an IRC chat to just tell you everything that you might need to know, and shows you what kind of posts are posted on the website and everything, hour by hour updates on what's going on. It's kind of something you just pick up if you're directly involved with it, and it's a part of your life, day by day. But otherwise, you just kind of go with it. Say what you can and learn what you can with the time that you have. And,
Yep.
I mean, it's not like there's really any pressure to doing it or anything like that. It's just we're doing this, and we're doing this for both our own sake and for anyone that might be involved.
Yeah, I claim to be part of a community, but I really don't know a whole lot about it, so I shouldn't really be voicing my opinion. That's the feeling I have.
As long as you got the inside knowledge of how it all goes, really, it's the core value of it.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
cer-
it doesn't really matter what point you end up learning about the stuff. As long as you're learning about the stuff in the first place, it's fine.
I think I'll stop worrying about this once I go to a convention and say I've fully saturated myself at least once.
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm anywhere near being able to properly involve myself in the furry fandom in itself, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to kind of wet my feet a little bit, really get into it, which is why I'm doing all the stuff I am doing with this group. Dip my feet in and get really involved and get in there and get to know some people with the contacts I'm sure Ark has from his time as a musician and everything else. I'm sure
Yeah.
I'd be able to learn a lot, both inform myself and be able to properly get into these conversations and these shows, and so I can really be better at both presenting and writing up any information or any posts.
Yeah.
Basically make the work better and easier for myself.
Ark is back. We should probably get a move on now. Make our editors have more work by having an entire hour-long babble session in the middle of our cast.
The editors are for, right?
Make our work a lot more harder, why don't ya?
Well, it's not like it's our problem. You're the ones that, like, you'll offer yourself to this position. It's your fault if you are dumped with the work. You are, like, remember, you asked for this.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be the fortunate person that the editor says, "Oh God, why did he open his mouth? That's 10% more work I have to do."
They knew
Sometimes
what they
I
were
am like
paying
that.
for.
I do believe we finished up with, military uniforms. And whatever you guys were speaking afterwards.
Yep.
Alright, so with war, religion, and political propagandas going on around the world, it seems that things are bleak. Go figure. Everything seems to always be bleak.
Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah, especially if it's in the news. However, I'm a firm believer that there is more compassion than there is hate. And the furry fandom has actually played a role in it for future generations. As each year the community is expanding more in numbers, and it is unsure how the furry fandom will be like once the younger generations become adults. Hopefully something that will be a lot more grander.
Could bring a culture clash with Islam and authoritarianism.
Yes, the
Let's see about that. What does that mean? What does that mean, Ark? What have we got here? This amazing story you've got.
You
for
know
us.
what? I was even going to bring that one up. So there.
Oh, well, you put it in the link dump, so it's too late for that.
Hey, if you want to go ahead and make the discussion about it, go ahead. But I'm going to go ahead and go on with what I have. The community.
Well, I mean, Southeast Asia.
Yeah. Well, it's actually more interesting, because, yeah, you got this totalitarianism down over there in Southeast Asia, but yet we've actually been seeing more props-ups down over there, which of course includes South China, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand. These are the places that are right now starting to have more and more furry conventions popping up. Of course, it's more in the larger cities, but at the same time, it's pretty much sitting around over here.
Like, to an extent, when you think about it in that, that area, at least with, like, the kind of more Asian side of it, or at least most of the region, because it makes sense for there to be kind of furries there. I mean, it might sound strange, but the whole thing, like, some of the religions down there, like, most of the folklore that has to go on, like goes on with their, like, most of their depictions are of either, pseudo-anthropomorphic or generally beast-like animals or icons. So, and those, to most of the people that live there, or some of the people that live there, it's like kind of a big part of their life, and they revere in these icons. And it to an extent, it kind of makes sense to see, a trend like this, or the fandom to kind of crawl its way down there a little bit, and it's definitely a good thing to see.
Indeed, it's a lot more exposure, and of course, I'm sure, or there has been a few things that has been factored in with it, because these conventions have actually just recently been popped up in recent years. There's some of them 2012, 14, 2015, and 16. And, of course, the more interesting thing, though, the furry community has actually made a lasting impression on the Syrian refugees who were in the same motel as Vancouver was. Who's to know as to what kind of influence we actually had on those children? And, of course, we've also got a few other things that's been going on as well, which has kind of been sneaking around the defenses of some cultures, as well as the public in general itself, because, of course, everybody knows the Our Black Eye and whatnot. And that sneak around on the defenses of not just saying, oh, this is a furry thing, but just integrate it without even having a mention of the word furry, I can guarantee you, subconsciously, these things will have a change in impact and perspective. And who knows, maybe one day the furry community will not only just be some sort of freak show fest the general public has, but more of a norm fandom like any other is. It seems that the furry community is actually starting to get that fresh new start that's been wanting. However, it's still a long road ahead to make the furry fandom as what it wants to be.
Well, it's a start, isn't it?
Yeah, and for those who are actually effectively going behind the fences in a stealthful way and changing the view of the fandom in society, well, the community will at first ask why they're doing it, but upon change later they will be asking how they did it.
In places like that, it can be a bit difficult to be kind of different to your average person. They're kind of strict with stuff like that, aren't they?
Oh, no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, we have these two individuals who came from a certain part of Eurasia. Doesn't exactly take a liking to the furry community. And these two individuals are that of Chris and Cooper Elkin. We've interviewed them years back. As a matter of fact, I should probably get an update on them as to what's going on. But Chris,
you did.
What, Chris and Cooper?
You interviewed them.
Oh, yeah.
Or you saw.
Yeah, I've interviewed them at least about twice, with part 1 of their book as well as part 2.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, they themselves are in that part of the world where it's not exactly most idealistic to be calling yourself a furry, because, hey, it could be very well be able to get you hanged. Or stoned.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, it's flabbergasting to hear that in some parts of the world that stuff is not only kind of legal, but it's also encouraged.
And of course with Chris and Cooper Elkin as well, never know which one's more worse, either coming out of the closet or coming out as a furry in some of these cultures.
Yeah. Because, I mean, sometimes they're basically seen as the same thing, because, I mean, like, I made a joke about it a while ago, but it's, like, no surprise that a rather sizable portion of the community is either homosexual or bisexual or lesbian.
Yeah, well...
And most of the time, people are going to immediately associate you with that label if you come out as a furry, which is obviously... It's unfortunate as well. You know how easy it is to put a label on someone if they associate themselves with a particular group, even though it's not who they are in the least, because, that's the easiest thing to do, isn't it, for someone? It's how they understand things.
Well, obviously, we gotta go ahead and make an understanding of it somehow. And of course, we take the easy railroad out. Alright, so... Semper Filly actually recently came out.
Yes, it did. Just last week, I think.
Semper Filly?
Or a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on... Yeah, a couple day and a half, something like that. Just recently.
It's been in Yeah, it's been in the works for quite a while, hasn't it?
That it has, and of course, if nobody knows what we're talking about, it's one of the works that... what was his name?
Commander Firebrand? Or Josh Scorcher?
Or the Fiery Joker, whichever name he goes by.
The Fiery... I would think the Josh Scorcher, because that's his YouTube handle right now.
The Flame King.
The fiery one.
He's also in band.
Interesting, that I did not know of.
You didn't know he's in band?
Nah.
Well, I think he's in band. I think remember him mentioning a bunch of times he's like more musically. Well, I think
Yeah,
because he said the most of the reason why he's so busy is because he has to go practice a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And he's talked about how he's talked about the music in the show and MLP a whole bunch as well.
I have never seen that part, but then again, I don't follow him much either. Sad. I know.
I thought you were better than that, DJ. You do music too.
Hey, if he was a furry, then I'd be following his ass, but...
Hey, you're supposed to do both. You're supposed to be the thing that brings us together. Like, you're the synergy in this group, dude. Don't give me that.
I may be the one that brings together, and I've done it for a long time, but I'm also the one that'll go ahead and make sure that there is a line.
When was there ever a line with you?
Let me see. With dragons, ever since with griffins, ever since with bronies. Cats too, as well. Yeah, those are pretty much sums them up.
You didn't say changelings, I'm good.
Join the herd, queer. Join it. You know you want it.
I'm not allowed to have an opinion. Everybody judges me against it.
Anything
I mean, they're basically the same thing, right? Furries, bronies are furries. That's what people say, right?
They can in some extent, but I don't know.
I mean, it is true.
They're one, but not the other. It's like
the mere fact that
bronies are furries, but furries aren't bronies. Yeah, something else. I think they're more like interchangeable.
Even though it only applies to like the only reason like being a furry applies is because they're strictly anthropomorphic.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just a sapient feral.
I'm fine with them, just as long as they don't try to shove glitter in my face.
we don't serve glitter. We serve love and tolerance.
Door to door glitter. Glitter bomb. Boom.
No, that would be the Twilight fandom.
My goodness.
I don't know, I can see bronies do that.
Glitter? No, I'd see with more of rainbows.
Rainbows. No, that's Gen 1. That's Generation 1 bronies.
Yes!
Those are the ones you have to look out for.
Oh wait, so they're coming out of the factory? We're labeling them with Gen 1, Gen 2?
There's even 3.5.
Yeah, but we don't talk about the Gen 1s.
Or the 3.5.
We don't talk about the smooths. Although I actually saw that movie, and it was hilarious.
The what?
I don't know what it was called, but it was the one with the smooths, and the sea ponies, the sea ponies. Oh, that jingle! You can never forget that jingle.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen a few clips here and there.
Yeah, you have to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I saw the movie on the live stream once, and it was just the best. It's like one of those things that is so bad and it's so dumb. It's just the best thing ever. It's like The Room of pony stuff.
Oh, that's just beautiful.
I did not hit her.
I don't even know
Those were
what
darker
that
times.
was. Oh yes, that's what it is all about, really. Now, of course, we got one final thing, which, of course, Black Griffin himself.
Yes.
Dun 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 dun. Now, we've went ahead and discussed a little bit of the elections and whatnot, and we've already went ahead and put our opinions on it. However, there is a good inspirational video that Mr. Griffin himself has put up on Twitter. But quite frankly, I think we all go ahead and take a little bit of inspiration from. With it, I think we'll go ahead and add on to the link, as well as all of these other interesting things, as well as the buttload of research that I went ahead and did with some of the individuals, like Warhorse. So I want to go ahead and learn a little bit more about with these individuals that we have discussed about. Now they'll be available within the links, and I do believe we pretty much covered with anything and everything that's been on the topic. Well, at least on. Of course, I do recall you were mentioning something else with Forever Free.
Forever Free, yep. He the musician, he came back from a huge, 2-year hiatus because he was on mission. He was a missionary, he was on mission, I'm not sure where, but he was on mission for a long time. And throughout that time, his family was actually maintaining his channel. And recently, I think a couple months ago, I'm not sure how long ago he came back, but he has came back, and ever since he came back, he's been pushing out videos and music like crazy.
Like
and a lot of the
pony that he is,
and a lot of the stuff that he's been like usual. It's very, very good music. Yeah, I mean, as time goes by, a lot of there'll be some people in the community who will just either slow down, because there are a couple of musicians that have been slowing down in the fandom, either just moving on or just doing their own thing, but it's just something either because they're too busy or they're just not something they want to do anymore. But as because time's been going by and they've either been coming back from something that they have been doing, or there have been maybe some new musicians that have been coming from the depths and trying to make themselves known, which is something that we're going to be making sure we do with the new show that we're making.
Yeah, I think that's one of the more of a challenging thing that there is, because right now, the music artists, well, the Brony music artists at least, you got these that have been pretty well horse famous. They just shot up down over there during the earlier years.
Yeah,
and then
especially mid 2012 to 2014.
And of course, as they've shot up down over there and more came to rise, has gotten a little bit more and more harder to gain recognition and whatnot. But those that have been pretty well up there for quite a while, as what Diamond went ahead and said, they pretty much either moving on to other things and whatnot, because life, you flow with the times. Now is actually the opportunity to go ahead and start putting notoriety of your stuff. I mean, now would be the time to go ahead and attack, because it's pretty much starting to get a little bit stale with individuals that are pretty well known. There's no really new uprising, no new individuals that have been rising up. Uprising, rebel.
As you say, there were a lot of musicians throughout that time that have been well known and have been, so to say, taking the spotlight in the highest point of the fandom. And I would say that it is obviously still very, it's still going strong, but in terms of music, specifically music, it's kind of slowed down a bit in terms of individuals that are constantly putting out music and making themselves known. So I would think it would be right now would be a good time to just if you want to do something and in terms of the fandom, do it, because it's a very relaxed time. It's not, things are still going as the way they should, but if you want to make music, then you should just go ahead and do it, because it's not going to be as hard as it would have been a couple years ago, because it kind of was hard, because most of the music you held on the radio shows or the music videos or the people who are making AMVs about it were these specific artists that were constantly putting out these obviously admittedly good pieces of music, but it was just a constant of these specific artists time and time again, and it was very difficult for anyone who wasn't in that position to, make their content known. But now I think in terms of music, it'd be much better for you to just, make whatever you want, to not have the pressure that you would do that time, when there were a lot more people around, there were a lot more people who were getting the attention and putting themselves out. I say that putting, content, I mean music specifically, because music, I think, is kind of, it's not a constant thing. And Ark, you could probably attest to that. I don't know if I'm really speaking the truth, but from the way I see it, it's something that kind of comes and goes. People make music for a certain amount of time, unless they're crazy dedicated to it. They'll make music for a certain amount of time, and then they'll just move on because they have other things they want to do. Especially in like a fandom, where the music or the art, the content that you made is specifically targeted toward an audience or a specific group or a specific theme, and you can only it probably goes for anyone. You can only do things like that for a certain amount of time, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it for as long as you want to, because as long as you hold that passion, and as long as you have that fire of wanting to do something for the people that for the people that, you want to entertain or show, and for a show or for a bit of content or for a specific theme piece that you want, then you can just go ahead and do it. There's nothing stopping you. That you can only go so far in terms of a fandom, because there'll be times where things will be up and down throughout the years, and things will either there'll be lots of energy and lots of activity going on between the people that are within it, and there'll be times, like for example, like right now we're having a show hiatus. There'll be times when people aren't as motivated, so to say, to want to make new things based on the show or the certain theme. I mean, I would say that it's a bit more difficult for someone in the Brony fandom than someone for in the furry fandom to make something like that, because being a Brony, you're just specific. It's just you're focused on this one thing, the show, and all of its characters, and that's it. Anything outside of the show, a bit difficult to base something on. But a furry in the general consensus, it's a broad spectrum, because it's like kind of, whereas the idea of being a Brony is focused on the one show, the idea of being a furry, I would think, is geared towards an idea, or the thought, or the design aspect, or just the desire or the liking of an anthropomorphic animal, in its base definition. And there are obviously there are so many things that have got that that art style, or that theme in mind. So many cartoons, so many fantasy shows and games and artists and everything. It's been something that's been around for a long time, as we've said, been around for a long time. So I would think that it's definitely a long term, like a much longer term thing, but it's not something that's geared towards this one thing. It's a general idea, and it's something that's very good. But obviously, I'm saying from my experience that the Brony fandom specifically, it's a bit of, it's like a spectrum. I'd say it goes up and down, and it goes, I mean, it's not something that you can really be into for a longer period of time, at least as long as the hiatus goes, because obviously, I mean, if there's an episode going, everyone's going mad, everyone's super energetic, and there's tons and tons of art and music and animations coming out based on either a joke they saw in that episode, or just the basis of that episode of what they learn, or anything. And everything, everything shoots, the animations go mad, and the music, it's everywhere, and everything's amazing, especially on the Saturday, because everyone's super hyped for the episode to come out. And when it, at those points, the energy, it skyrockets, and when it does, like, it's kind of like when it rains, it pours in the Brony fandom. But otherwise, it's more of something it's an occasional thing like that. It's just something that you kind of have to wait for. You can obviously be a part of the fandom, yes, and it can be something that you can like, and you can talk to anyone that you want. There are tons of websites, there are tons of forums, there are tons of IRC chats and everything. You can go talk to a brony anytime you want, and you can tell them about everything that you love. It will be kind of a steady stream of activity as opposed to something that's constantly going on, unless there is an episode going. That's really the way I think. That's the way I see it. At this point in time, it would be completely fine to be able to or to want to make something. And by all means, if you're motivated to do something, you should, just like anything else. We're definitely geared, even though despite anything, whatever might happen, we're definitely going to be geared towards making sure the people that are motivated to make this content and to do these things are given the respect and the motivation and the attention that they deserve, because there are a lot of people who, and I've seen it happen, there are people who've wanted to make content and wanted to do things for the fandom, and have just kind of gotten burned out because they feel like they didn't get the attention that they needed, that they didn't get enough exposure, that they just didn't have the energy or the need or the want to continue going, and so they just stop. And something like that is kind of horrible, really. It's just to think about it, because there are so many people that are so talented, and they just go without any exposure at all, or the bare minimum, because in any medium it's hard to get yourself out there just through self-promotion. Unless you work really, really, really hard on what you're doing and you make sure everything is perfect, and it is possible, but it's definitely very difficult. And what we're going to try and do is make sure these people that work hard on doing the things they do and don't really get the exposure they really deserve, that they get people to see what they do, and the good work that they do, the definite good work that they do, and have people give them the props that they deserve, and so they can get the motivation to keep doing greater and greater things, which is something I think we should all strive to do, because there are a lot of people who have so much untapped potential and untapped talent that they'll try and do the things that they love, like music or writing or drawing, when they think or they feel like, or they find out that they're just not getting enough recognition for it. They just completely give up, and they just kind of throw it away, even though it's something that they knew they were good at, and they knew they were. It just goes away just because they didn't get enough exposure, which is a huge shame. I really hope that we'd be able to change that in the coming years.
You're right of one thing. Music does come and go and whatnot. EDM basically is the 70s type of clubs back then. I think we've pretty much have covered everything for the time being for now. Diamond will definitely be joining with us for our DJ's Corner for next week.
Yes. I'm going to be doing that with Ark throughout the coming, just in the future. It's going to be something where we're going to be working on setting up, hopefully within the next week or two at least.
Yeah.
I've been badgering you for that.
Yeah.
I told you, we need to write that up. We need to write that stuff, make a schedule, and make a formula.
We are getting things organized now, slowly but surely. And of course, we now do have a team a manageable team, but yes, as things will be going around a lot more smoothly. And
we have people to do things.
Yeah, we have to figure out what happens to Raven, though. She's been MIA for quite a while now.
Yeah, hopefully we should be able to get in contact with her and give her the lowdown on the positions that everyone's been given, so we can probably get to
hopefully
making
she's
sure
doing all right
we have a good basis of communication, because that's really all we need. Get the people that we speak to.
I think that pretty much covers up with everything. Jerry, I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yeah, he's still with us. Got quiet now in the back down. Yeah, Jerry, he's one of our new guys. He'll be working around with us as well too, so you may see him every now and then.
Sad to say, I'm gonna be here I'm just gonna be here. I'm gonna be in the background. I'm always gonna be here.
I'd be of more help, but I have a walnut for an attention span, and so I tend to forget a lot of things.
You're stuck with me as a co-director.
Yeah, so Seaward is fired. But this has actually been in the spotlight here on the Make Republic. I have been the cute and lovable DJ Art, as always, forever will be.
Ha.
But right now, as we go ahead and stand, our program in the spotlight will be coming up, oh, I don't know, I do believe probably next week. I don't have anything going on within that time, and I do believe everybody else will be around over here. Hopefully, Morgan as well, he'll be back. He had a little bit of difficulties. Yeah. He had a bit of difficulties with his PC, so was not able to join us. Yeah, but as of now, I think we'll go ahead and wind this up. So if there's any last words, if you guys would like to go ahead and say, you better be saying it now.
Thank your veterans.
Invest in 3 different alarm clocks. Trust me, you may need them.
But until next week, everybody, adios, muchachos!
We're going to cut out their living guts and use them to grease the treads of our tanks. We're going to murder those lousy bastards by the bushel.
Now I live lean and I mean to inflict the grief, and the least of me is still out of your reach. The killing machine's gonna do the deed until the